Good evening, folks. Welcome to my live stream slash podcast for tonight. I think today is the 25th of July. I thought I'd get on here real quick before heading to bed here by 8 or 8:30. I thought I'd get down to a couple of news bits that need to be talked about. And let's get to it, shall we? I had come across some news bits on here about people like Elon Musk and Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Let's see. Let's start with what I want to talk about first, and that's Harvey Weinstein. You know, the guy from Miramax Pictures that was so popular back in the 90s? One such film that was popular from Weinstein's company was The Crow. And I hear old Harvey is serving his prison time, but now he's in the hospital due to COVID and pneumonia. Let's see what it says here. Go to NBC proper. And it says here, Harvey Weinstein in hospital with COVID and double pneumonia, his team says. If you want to look at the article below, you can copy and paste it below. I don't have my account verified so I could post links. And I'm not going to fuck with that right now. But yeah, news states that Harvey Weinstein is in the hospital due to pneumonia and COVID-19. And it says here, convicted and imprisoned Hollywood movie mogul Harvey Weinstein has been hospitalized for a myriad of health conditions, but also has tested positive for COVID-19 and double pneumonia, a rep said. Weinstein is in Bellevue Hospital prison ward. Weinstein's representative and prison consultant, Craig Rothfield, said. He is now 72 and is at Bellevue. Weinstein was taken to the hospital to be treated for the conditions that he is still affected with on a daily basis. He has diabetes, high blood pressure, spinal stenosis, fluid on his heart and lungs, and various other conditions, Rothfield said. In addition, he has tested positive for COVID and contracted double pneumonia in the lungs. It goes on to say here, if there is anything, Weinstein was convicted in New York and LA for sex offenses, and in the LA case, he was sentenced to 16 years in prison. Weinstein was sentenced to 23 years in New York, but that 2020 rape conviction was overturned in April, after a state appellate court determined that the judge erred in allowing women to testify about allegations that weren't part of the case. So, yeah, he's still rotting in jail, but the 2020 conviction that he had been overturned. But yeah, that piece of slime is sick and in the hospital tonight. I'm glad he is. It couldn't happen to a nicer guy, some are saying. And it just showed up on my feed here about maybe 5-6 minutes ago. And I said, karma will get him. I'll be glad when he's gone. He hurt a lot of people. He gets no sympathy from me. That is what happens to perverts. For those of you that don't know, Harvey Weinstein was a hotshot movie mogul who used his wealth and power to take advantage of a lot of women, including Rose McGowan and other actresses in the business, including one woman who decided to wear a wire and go to his hotel to catch him in the very act of doing what he was doing. And the woman says, "You touched my breast. You touched my breast." And he's like, "Well, I'm used to that." Who in the hell says that shit? But yeah, in 2020, that he was convicted for the sexual molestation cases. But apparently the judge decided to overturn the conviction because many people testified, but it wasn't related to the particular case, which I sense bullshit on that. But he is now a weaker and more feeble man than he was some years ago. Can't say I feel sorry for him. And take this as a note, Harvey. You messed with a lot of women, you ruined their lives, you made them feel low and inferior. But a strong woman is a woman that speaks up, no matter how much the court system hates it or Hollywood hates it. Now he's getting his daily dose of karma. He's a diabetic and has all these other problems going on. Couldn't happen to a nicer bitch. And speaking of karma biting somebody in the ass, let's talk about Donald Trump for a minute. As we all know, Joe Biden has dropped out of the 2024 race for presidency. A lot of people are saying, goodbye, Uncle Joe, right? But Kamala Harris is coming on strong. She has gained support. Some MAGA freaks are seeing the error of their ways and leaving the MAGA camp, as it were. More and more support is building up for Kamala Harris. One, she is a staunch prosecutor. She knows her business, and she knows that she's not going to take Trump's bullshit. And he and his compadres are running scared. He does not want to debate this woman because he knows she'll kick his ass in the debates. And my brother knew better than to say anything to me about Joe Biden leaving the presidential race. It took a lot of guts for him to drop back. I didn't remember this at the time, but I think he did say that he was a go-between for somebody younger to come in and fill the position of president. And Camilla, I think she's 59 years old, same age as my sister. What the MAGA freaks out there don't understand is that when the older people get sick or they retire or they die, the younger people have to come in and start running the country. It is now up to the younger generations to decide the future of this country. And I know a lot of young people don't show their moxie, because I watch a lot of police video on here of people acting the fool. But there are good people out there that are generally concerned about allowing Trump back in the Oval Office. Trump is dangerous. He is a disease that this country has been afflicted with for the last 6 years. With all the lies and shit that he's been spewing. And now that Biden has dropped out of the race, they can no longer say that Joe Biden is too old. And now Donald Trump is the oldest motherfucker running for office right now. So they can't pull the old age stunt on anyone. But if they want to pull the old age stunt on someone, try it on Donald Trump himself. And yeah, I heard about Donald Trump nearly being executed at a rally in PA here about a week, almost 2 weeks ago. And as I've said, he spewed hate from the very beginning. He said he could shoot someone on Fifth Avenue and not lose voters. And he was spewing all this violent rhetoric, especially when COVID hit. He was talking about how the virus come from China and using all those slang words that I'm not going to repeat here to describe it. And because of the rhetoric, a lot of the Chinese Americans that live here had been beat down and sucker punched by MAGA compatriots. Um, and it's sad because there's a lot of people that live here that weren't even born here. A lot of people come over from another country to get away from whatever bad shit is going on. And those that do try to make a better life for themselves are often uh, being told to go back to their own country. I hate to tell that most of the American folks that live here, the Indians were here long before the white man and the black man and the Chinese and everybody was here. We all have a little bit of English blood in our bodies, whether you want to believe it or not. But Kamala Harris is coming on strong. She has gotten more and more support from her Democratic delegates. I think people are finally starting to realize that what happened at the rally was no accident. Sure, Secret Service fucked up. They know they screwed up. The head of the Secret Service has stepped back from the business at hand. But Donald Trump's hatred came back to bite him in the behind. You know, he always talked about shooting someone on Fifth Avenue. And as I said in my past live stream, I wonder how he would feel about that now. I don't think he would stand a chance if you were to go toe-to-toe with somebody on Fifth Avenue. Sorry, but that is just how I feel. But to hear that Donald Trump may have been hit by shrapnel or grazed by a bullet, his violence came home to hurt him. And he was shot at by one of his own MAGA supporters. And Marlena got the message pretty loud and clear. You know, she's worried about herself and her son, Barron. Which makes me glad that Barron did the wise thing and stayed out of politics. You know, it's just like the music business. People getting killed over the most stupid shit. You know, Tupac Shakur and Notorious B.I.G. are two big examples. And let's see, John Lennon was also murdered by a gun. He's just like every other high-profile person out there in the media, in public, that ends up getting shot and killed by a gun, you know? Trump is damn lucky that he wasn't murdered that day. But, you know, Joe Biden showed the greatest grace to Donald Trump, hoping that he was okay and hoping that he gets his ear taken care of. But he showed more grace than I certainly ever would. A lot of people that I have witnessed online were saying, too bad they missed. I don't like Trump as much as the next guy, and you all know what I want to happen to him, but, you know, karma met him at his own feet. You know, just like Brian Sicknick died on January 6th of 2020. You know, violence came to Trump's feet out in a big outdoor event in PA. And he could have bought the farm. He should have taken that as a tip to change his ways. But, you know, as they say, you cannot make a cancer cell change. If it's stage 4, it's going to stay stage 4. You know, very few people survive a stage 4 cancer diagnosis. And if we allow Trump back into office, ladies and gents, it's going to be the worst cancer that we have ever inflicted on this country. And I'm here to make sure that doesn't happen. Because he'll take revenge out on women. He'll take his revenge out on transgender, gays, disabled people, women. You name it, he'll probably take his revenge out on anybody and everybody who stands up to him. But I'm here to let you all know that I'm not backing down from my stance. Even if Joe Biden drops out of the race, I'm still voting for Kamala Harris. Because she is a straight shooter to the point, and a well-respected prosecutor in the eyes of the law. She's not going to take any of Trump's crap. And if he doesn't debate her, it makes him look like the weak man that his father hates. Think about that for a minute. Let's go back to the Trump family and its weird dynamics, okay? The one survivor of the Trump family Kool-Aid, if you want to call it that, Mary Trump, has warned us about Donald Trump years ago. People were laughing it off and saying, oh, he'll never get elected. But like I said, the day Donald Trump was elected, his wife cried, not for the reason that you think. She wasn't happy that her husband was elected. She knew that it would start the country down the most giant of clusterfucks that we had ever seen. And Kamala Harris is ready to take on the challenge of standing up to Donald Trump, bringing out the bullet points, what she wants to do for this country, and put us back on the right track. And you could blame all the border problems on Obama. You could even blame the border problems on JFK if you want to. Still doesn't change the fact that Donald Trump is a con man. He's a convicted felon, and he'll always be a convicted felon. He doesn't earn the right to a presidential library. He is a sex offender, as far as I'm concerned. And he's got all these problems going on. He's got all these lawsuits and shit going on. And I heard about the documents case being dismissed by Judge Cannon, but we all know what a piece of crap she is. So, yeah. I think Kamala Harris is ready to take on the challenge of Donald Trump, and I'm voting for Miss Kamala Harris. And I heard that J.D. Vance isn't going down so well, so yeah. He doesn't deserve to go down well. And many Magladites, if I may call them that, a lot of them are starting to see, wow, our country is in some real serious crap if we allow Trump back into office. There are some out there that have actually learned their lesson. They watched the January 6th thing when it was going down. And some of them said, I can't believe I lost friendships. I've lost connections with family members over Donald Trump. All because he's a power-crazed idiot that wants to get rid of elections, from what I heard. And if Project 2025 is real, we better make damn sure that it doesn't happen, that women don't lose their rights to vote. Transgenders should have rights. Gay, any gay, transgender, disabled, black, white, red, brown, purple, yellow that live here, we all have our rights. And we need to bring back Roe versus Wade. Because you cannot have one without the other. If they want to sterilize the women, what about the men, huh? They always tell women, get an abortion. What about the men? Shouldn't they get a vasectomy? Where they cut the little tubes where the little sperm swims down to transfer to the woman or the other guy? If you're gay? Come on. You can't have one without the other. That is what I'm saying. I'm 53 years old. I've seen this country go through ups and downs. But the last 4 years have felt like a summer vacation. We didn't hear about Trump on social media, especially Facebook. Joe Biden went in there and did the job that he was supposed to do. They're wanting to cut down Joe Biden because he has a stuttering problem. Well, let me tell you guys something. I don't know if you're a fan of country music or music in general. I'm sure you heard of the singer and actor Mel Tillis, right? You may have seen him in the Cannonball Run movies. That is where I'm most familiar with Mel Tillis. He had to do some type of treatment where he had to learn how to stop his stuttering or control his stuttering. Because when he sings, he's perfectly normal. But if he spoke, he stuttered all the time. In fact, in the Cannonball Run movies, it was sort of a running gag. But he did have a stuttering problem. But it did not stop him from becoming a successful singer, songwriter, actor. So, you ever heard of the term, don't mock the afflicted? It's just what it says. Don't mock the afflicted. Because they could come out and surprise you with some of the things that they can do. Think of the Special Olympics motto. Don't think about what you can't do. Think about what you can do. And let the person be brave in their attempt to achieve their goals. That is how I try to live my life. And Donald Trump doesn't like that. He doesn't want women standing up for themselves. As far as he's concerned, he wants people back in the 1940s and 1950s. Women stay in the kitchen while the men go out and work. They don't want women to have an opinion. They don't want gays to have rights. They don't want transgenders to have the same rights as everybody else. It's like when I was young, our city was asking what they could do to improve the city. Well, they have disability bathrooms, ramps for the buildings for people that can't use stairs, and other amenities to help them get inside buildings like push buttons that'll open the door automatically. Kids like me were talking about that in the 1980s, 1970s, 1980s. We were talking about that. And look what happened. In most places now, you have ramps and you have elevators and you have automatic door openers. So if you go to a business or, even a doctor's office, they have like these push buttons that you could open the door. Even if you can't reach it and open it yourself. Yeah. But Donald Trump doesn't want any of that. He doesn't want us to be free and be able to have the protections we need, not just for us, but for the planet. If he doesn't want to do right by this planet, then he is not fit for office. But again, Donald Trump is facing some stiff competition with Kamala Harris. She's a staunch lawyer. She is a prosecutor. And I believe she understands what's at stake for this country. And she's willing to fight for it and do right by the Constitution and the good old flag of the U.S. of A. But again, thinking back to Donald Trump and all the shit that he's done, let's just say if it weren't for the Secret Service on January 6th, he would have been caught in that melee. And if something were to happen to him, that would be on him. The Secret Service was trying to save him from himself. But a lot of people are complaining the day that Donald Trump was shot at a rally in Pennsylvania. There wasn't enough security. There wasn't anybody there to keep people off that little building that guy was lying on. And they brought up the Stephen Paddock case, the Las Vegas shooting that went down, where a guy went to the Mandalay Bay Hotel and rented a room, and then he got another room and was bringing in all these suitcases, and nobody in that hotel ever questioned a damn thing. But the guy set up a very elaborate camera system on the outside of the room. He had locked one of the exit doors like you're going down the stairs if the elevator doesn't work. And he broke out a window and had a big arsenal of weapons, opening fire on a crowd of concert goers, nearly hitting Jason Aldean, the last performer on the stage that night. And 58 people died. And over the ensuing years, two more would add to the death toll. And that's sad. Again, how can you defend, how can you protect people when you're in an open air area where anybody could possibly find it within themselves to take a shot at somebody? The thing is, you just can't. You can't take anything for granted. You could go out to, say, a Barry Manilow concert, and some jerk might want to try and do something. You could go to a rally like Donald Trump, and one of his own opened fire on him. That is the biggest switch that I have seen throughout the political back and forth. And Joe Biden's right. We need to dial back the violent rhetoric. We need to shut it off. We need to put it in the box. We need to start coming together as people. And if you're not willing to do right by the Constitution and our flag, then you have no business being in government. And as I've said, I think it is time for the younger people to come in. They're the ones that's going to be running this country and taking care of the older generation when their parents get old and sick. And they have to figure out what to do to get them care and make sure they're taken care of and in comfort in their last years. Because the old people ain't going to live forever. I mean, I'm over halfway through my life right now. And it's for the younger generation. It's from the 35 to 65. You got 30 years. And being a president, it ages you. Barack Obama went in with dark hair. And by the time he come out, he was starting to get white hair. He looked a little bit older. It's a high-stress job. And I wish Kamala Harris all the luck in the world. She has my support 1,000%. And I don't care if you don't like me for that. Just think about how you would want your kids to be treated if, say, they had issues that come up in their lives, like they come out of the closet, or they side with whatever it is they believe in. They don't believe in going to church. They believe in this and that. But you have to start seeing, how do you want to raise your kids? Do you want them raised up believing what Trump believes? That what he says is gold, when half the things he says aren't true. He is a habitual liar. And he's willing to throw everybody under the bus that doesn't agree with him. But I believe in the red, white, and blue, the Constitution. I'm not J. Edgar Hoover, who saw commies under every bush. But the biggest traitor to this country was Donald Trump himself, kissing up to Kim Jong-un and blabbing about a fictional character named Hannibal Lecter. Think about that. He thinks Hannibal Lecter is a real person. I think Donald Trump lost his wheels down the road. That's the truth, man. That is the honest to goodness truth. Because anybody who believes in a fictional character, he's probably out there looking for Hannibal Lecter wherever the fuck he's at. So, yeah. And as I close, people like Donald Trump and Harvey Weinstein deserve to share a cell together. A pervert belongs in jail. They don't belong out on everyday streets. No. Nope. He doesn't belong out on the streets. Donald Trump doesn't belong out on the streets. And don't forget the words that Donald Trump said. I can grab them by the pussy because I'm a rock star. I'm a hotshot. Because they know I can do it. I don't even have to ask. I can walk up on them and force a kiss on him. No, you can't. You invade a person's space, they have every right to get away from you. And if you don't respect their space, they have every right to sue you. Or in my case, when a guy did that to me, forced a kiss on me, my brothers wanted to level his ass. My father said, if I'm not here, my sons will whip your ass. But if I ever see you and you try that, there's going to be trouble. That's what he told this old fart. And then I heard about a year or two after that, the old guy died. Thank goodness. And, I should feel sorry for Harvey Weinstein being in the hospital, but the thing is, I don't. Just like Mr. Epstein, the owner of Epstein Island, he got his karma, and Jeffrey Dahmer also got his karma in prison. So, yeah. Karma will come for these guys. It's just going to be, it won't be where, it'll be when. So, there you have it, ladies and gents. In 2024, I will be voting for Miss Kamala Harris. And there ain't none of y'all yahoos in the MAGA community going to change my mind on it. Because our future is too important. So, yeah. You want to go live in a police state? Go to Russia. Go to China. Go to Japan. I'm sure they would love to bedden you up down there until they get tired of you. Because the leaders over in some of these other countries, they will kill you if you so much as look at them wrong. Or if you take a flag, like one young man did. And he came home a vegetable and later was dead. Yeah. So think about it. Chinese Americans don't deserve to be beaten up because of the color of their skin. I've heard about people being sucker punched on the street because of that. It's not fair. It ain't right. And Donald Trump has stirred up some shit with two little boys that were running toward each other, wanting to embrace and a hug. Little tiny toddlers. They don't know nothing about hate. But some jackanapes decided to edit a video to make it look like the one that was white was running away from the black kid. And that's not true. Because the parents went after the person who edited that video and will strike down anybody who posts that fake video. So, yeah. But MAGA hate has brought that to his feet, Donald Trump got a taste of what his MAGA soup has done. Since 2016, it has stewed and stewed and stewed. And you could say it was a time bomb that blew up with a little nick in his ear, But a lot of people think of that as a publicity stunt. Donald Trump, you need to dial back your rhetoric, buddy, because it's going to end up getting somebody you love killed. And Marlena now realizes that being a public official in the realm of the Oval Office or even just a TV star, you run the risk of getting hurt and or killed. It happened to Notorious B.I.G., it happened to Tupac and any other rapper, musician that we have heard about in the last 40 to 50 years. It's not funny, but Kamala Harris knows what needs to be done for this country, and I support her. I think you should too. Good night, everybody. It's time for me to go to bed. I'm not feeling well. I'll talk to you sometime this weekend if it's not too hot. I might not get on next week because we're supposed to have some storms here, but I don't know yet. So keep an eye out for a live stream sometime after 4 o'clock on Saturday. I'll talk to you then. Be sure to either register to vote, go to your polls in November, and if you want to vote by mail, Get your absentee ballot. Get your request in, and they'll send you your ballot. I've already got my requests thing sent in, and hopefully by November I'll be able to vote and get it back to the polls as soon as possible. Have a good night, everybody. Stay cool. Check on your neighbors. Make sure everybody's doing okay. And I'll talk to you sometime this weekend. Good night, everybody.